Battle through the heavens, grand world. Chapter 96. Escape with your life. Ah! Lien Yuntian's arm was cut off by Lei Hu, and he almost fainted from the pain. He staggered backwards and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. He fell heavily to the ground. Senior. When Xiao Yan saw Lien Yuntian's appearance, he immediately became furious. His anger rose to his head, and his temples started to jump. He was about to rush over. Quick, let's go. Lien Yuntian fell to the ground and coughed violently. Every time he coughed, he would cough out a pile of blood. It was as if he had fallen into endless darkness. His strength quickly flowed out of his body. When he heard Xiaoyan's voice, Lien Yuntian used the last of his strength to shout. I told you to talk too much. Lei Hu, who saw that Xiao Yan was about to rush over, had a joyful expression on his face when he heard Lien Yuntian's intermittent voice. Immediately, he flew into a rage. He lifted his leg and stomped on Lien Yuntian's upper body. The huge force caused his chest to sink instantly. Upon hearing Lien Yuntian's words, Xiao Yan instantly sobered up from his madness. He was startled by what he had just done. He had experienced the hardships of the lower realm and had a very good disposition. He knew when to give up and when to not act on impulse. Now, he was still acting like an unborn child. His eyes were filled with anger as he looked at the arrogant Lei Hu. Suddenly, his facial expression calmed down. He turned around and quickly ran towards the transportation array. At the same time, he flipped his palm, and a bead-like thing appeared in his palm. Trying to run away, Lei Hu was instantly enraged. He abandoned Lien Yuntian and rushed towards Xiao Yan. Lien Yuntian fell to the ground. His vision was getting blurrier and blurrier. When he saw Xiao Yan running towards the transportation array, he forced a smile on his face. Yes, quickly. Run. Leave this place. Only then could he take revenge. Hatred. At the end of his words, tears flowed out of Lien Yuntian's eyes. His voice became weaker and weaker. Revenge. Revenge. After that, the spirit in his eyes was completely extinguished. Only his tearful eyes could not bear to close. Xiao Yan hid his anger deep in his heart. With a cold expression, the remaining origin monarch key in his body crazily poured into the round bead in his hand. Without saying a word, he sprinted towards the transportation array, which was a few meters away. Lei Shan, who was in the middle of a fierce battle with Wan Ming, was struck by a palm. After taking a few steps back, Lei Shan subconsciously glanced at Xiao Yan. When he saw Xiao Yan crazily rushing towards the transportation array, he was shocked. Although Lei Hu was also trying his best to catch up, however, there was a gap of more than 10 meters between the two of them. Blue veins popped out on Lei Shan's forehead. He roared furiously at Wan Ming, that kid is going to run away. What if he gets away? It will be bad for both of us. After saying that, without waiting for Wan Ming's reply, he rushed towards Xiao Yan like a bolt of lightning. At the same time, on the high platform in his right hand, the origin monarch key condensed into a palm that was dozens of feet in size, slapping down at Xiao Yan. When Wan Ming, who had recovered from his shock, heard this, his eyes underneath the black robe instantly became filled with fury. With a furious roar, the origin monarch key had already condensed into a pair of wings of sovereign key behind his back. It was even faster than Lei Shan, and it suddenly burst forth with a speed that was even faster than Lei Shan, charging straight towards Xiao Yan. Due to the lack of origin monarch key in his body, Xiao Yan could not even use the 9 revolving wind shift. However, the distance of more than 10 meters was as long as a century. Hearing the sound of the air being torn apart behind him, Xiao Yan's eyes flashed. He suddenly turned around and threw the bead in his hand towards the giant hand. At the same time, he shouted, Wan Ming, I'll give you the Saint-grade monarch skill. After saying that, he turned around and ran. Little bastard. When he heard Xiao Yan call out his name, Wan Ming's face underneath the black robe turned ashen. When he saw the bead thrown by Xiao Yan, although he was very confused, could it be that the Saint-grade monarch skill wasn't a scroll? However, Wan Ming didn't dare to take the risk. He gave up on Xiao Yan, who was right in front of him, and rushed towards Lei Shan's giant hand. Wan Ming, Saint-grade monarch skill. Hearing the name of the man in black, Lei Shan's face changed dramatically. He cursed in his heart and wanted to rip the man into pieces, but he still shouted with a livid face, trash. That kid is playing with you. Quickly catch him. Seeing that his identity had been exposed, Wanming simply pulled off the black robe and looked at Lei Shan doubtfully. He quickly glanced at Xiao Yan and estimated that the latter was still within the distance that he could catch up to. His eyes flashed slightly and he still rushed forward and grabbed the bead. Boom! The moment Wanming grabbed the bead, he could feel the violent energy coming from it. Wanming's facial expression changed drastically. Before he could let go of the bead exploded. The huge energy exploded and sent Wanming flying. At the same time, the huge hand that Lei Shan was about to slap exploded, causing Lei Shan to involuntarily take a few steps back. Trash! When Lei Shan saw this, his old face turned red from anger, and he couldn't help but curse in his heart. He had already cursed Wanming's 18 generations of ancestors in his heart. When Lei Hu, who was a little later, saw this, he was infuriated by this princess. When he saw that Xiao Yan was only a few meters away from the transportation array, he steeled his heart and bit the tip of his tongue. A stream of blood essence flowed out from the tip of his tongue and mixed with the origin monarch key. Immediately, a golden light burst out from his body, and Lei Hu's speed instantly increased. In the blink of an eye, he was approaching Xiao Yan. Catch him! Although the huge explosion of the bead did not cause any substantial damage to Lei Shan, it slightly blocked his speed. Seeing that he could not catch up to Xiao Yan, Lei Shan immediately roared when he saw Lei Hu's sudden increase in speed. Wu! Wanming, who was sent flying by the impact of the round bead's explosion, quickly stabilized his body. The pain coming from his arms was secondary. The pain from being toyed with by Xiao Yan was the most unbearable to him. Bastard! How dare you fool me! Wanming flew into a rage. He flapped the wings of the sovereign key on his back and rushed towards Xiao Yan at lightning speed. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived behind Xiao Yan. Lei Hu had already swung his fist. Wanming, who had lost his mind due to anger, let out a furious roar. The origin monarch key on his right palm surged violently, and with a force that could shatter mountains and rivers, he forcefully attacked Xiao Yan. When he sensed the fatal attack behind him, Xiao Yan steeled his heart. The weakened crimson gold flame instantly rushed to his back. At the same time, the soul force between his brows surged out, and he fiercely attacked Lei Hu, who was relatively weaker. Bang! Bang! Two deafening rumbles were heard in a row. One fist and one palm landed on Xiao Yan's back. Xiao Yan continuously spat out fresh blood. His eyes were filled with endless dizziness. He felt the strength in every part of his body flowing uncontrollably out of nowhere. The furious roars of Wanming and the others also gradually became softer by his ears. Lei Hu's eyes looked like they were about to crack open as he looked at the scene in front of him. Because he was attacking Xiao Yan at the same time as Wanming, under the attack from two different angles, Xiao Yan was sent flying into the transportation array. The transportation array, which had accumulated enough energy, felt that someone had entered it. It instantly activated the teleportation function. Bastard! Wanming's eyes were also red. Streaks of origin monarch key were crazily striking at the light emitted by the transportation array. If Xiao Yan escaped, not only would he not be able to obtain the saint-level monarch skill, but he would also offend the Lei clan. At that time, the only thing waiting for him would be death. However, the transportation array was refined by a monarch cultivation and above expert. With Wanming's monarch emperor strength, it was impossible for him to destroy it. The two of them could only watch helplessly as the unconscious Xiao Yan gradually disappeared into the light. Wu! Wanming! You have ruined the Lei clan's great plan. The elders will definitely tear you into pieces and burn your bones to ashes. Lei Hu's eyes were red as he roared furiously at Wanming. The last few words were uttered through gritted teeth. Kiki! Wanming's face was gloomy. Both of his fists were tightly clenched. Because of his anger, his chest was violently heaving up and down. After hearing Lei Hu's words, his face turned pale. He looked at the transportation array in front of him with eyes full of anger. Not only did he not get the Saint-grade monarch skill, he had also completely offended the Lei clan. His good days in the future would come to an end. Lei Shan, who had rushed to the two men's side, saw Xiao Yan disappear into the transportation array at the last moment. Immediately, he cried out in pain and almost fell to the ground. Wanming! Lei Shan, who had recovered, gritted his teeth and said word by word, "Even if you hide to the ends of the earth, we also have to bear the wrath of the Lei clan." After that, he left with a cold face without saying a word. Lei Hu saw what happened. He also gave Wan Ming a fierce glare, then followed Lei Shan and left. As the two people in charge of Ruifeng City, Xiao Yan had escaped before their eyes. A heavy punishment was unavoidable in the family. Speaking of which, Lei Shan felt somewhat wronged. He was supposed to be in charge of supervising Ruifeng City and the other two cities. After hearing that Xiao Yan had appeared in Ruifeng City, unable to hold back the great rewards from the clan, he ran over to claim the first credit. He didn't expect Xiao Yan to slip away right under his nose. This time, he was trying to steal the chicken but failed to gain the rice. Wan Ming stood where he was, his mouth full of bitterness. After a long time, he left in an indifferent and speechless manner. The surrounding crowd had long escaped from Wan Ming and Lei Shan's battle of Monarch-Emperor level expert. Only the damaged buildings and the silent Lien Yuntian on the ground announced that this place had just experienced a great battle. After the end of the Forest Domain chapter, it would be the next chapter of the Star Moon Spirit Domain. This was the first time they had taken up the payment section, asking for a reward and a fresh flower. Chapter end. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.